And I would say to Mr. Patterson, why? After your record of 14 years, your record, your time at the wicket, when, as you heard in the report, poverty levels were at their highest in Jamaica, their highest in 1996 under your watch, talking about people not being able to survive. What was his record? Under his watch, Jamaica lost its 40,000 Jamaican-owned businesses. 40,000, more than 40,000 indigenous Jamaican businesses went under during Patterson's time. The banking and financial crisis that peaked in 1996. Yes? Remember now, he came to power in 1992. And in 1996, the banking crisis where banks went under, financial institutions went under, generally businesses went under. It became immortalized in the word FinSac. They were all FinSacked. Why? Because Patterson and his finance minister, Dr. Omar Davis, were engaged in what was a sustained period of high interest rates. The cost of money was such that if you had cash, you were king. You simply gave your money, lent your money, invested your money in government paper, and you went to Caymanas or Draxall to play golf. And you would be handsomely rewarded. But at what cost? The country suffered. Businesses were wiped out. The indigenous businesses were destroyed. People committed suicide. Inflation was rampant. Cost of living was rampant. Huh? Some people have not recovered. In fact, the figures are there. That episode alone cost the country 40% of its annual gross domestic product in one fell swoop. 40% of its GDP. The level of public debt in the country was averaging 130 to 145% of gross domestic product. In other words, the total value of what we were producing could not cover our debt. And what did that mean? It meant we could not invest in fighting crime. The security infrastructure of the country was underfunded. Education was underfunded. Mr. Patterson spoke about the health sector and the roads. Under his watch, we could not finance them because we were busy having to pay off debt. And it is those seeds of poor management, poor fiscal management, that have now grown to the point where we had to change course, certainly. And that's when we went to the IMF again as beggars. And Peter Phillips said, never again should I or should we have any Minister of Finance, yes, in our country having to suffer the indignity that he had to suffer. Never again. Why? I'm going to read something for you, from the IMF, about the period when Patterson presided over the economy. One of the most striking features of the Jamaican economy is a high public debt, which is a recurring theme of this paper. Jamaica has had very high public debt for a long time. Some progress in reducing the debt in the early 1990s was reversed by the banking crisis that ensued in 1996. That is a FinSac debacle. Following which the government absorbed an additional 40% of GDP in debt. Since then, Jamaica has been grappling with a legacy of public debt averaging between 130 and 145% of GDP. This debt has rendered the economy vulnerable to market sentiments and contributed to high and volatile inflation as well as low economic growth. The debt has so severely constrained the flexibility of macroeconomic policy making and required the development of a sophisticated debt management strategy. You understand what that means? What they're saying? The debt had ballooned to the point where we could not take care of basics. Patterson's government could not find $45 billion to be fixing the roads he's now lamenting about. They couldn't find a tenth of that. You know, when I heard that PJ had said this, I said, no. PJ is usually a very cautious man. Why would he do this now? Why? Something has gone wrong? What is it? For him to come and expose himself like this? What is it? Surely something has gone wrong. That he would come and say this. So, this morning, Mr. Patterson cannot be afforded the luxury of rewriting history. He can't rewrite history, I'm sorry. That's not the era we're in now. Don't take my word for it. Just simply use Google and put in from 1993 to 2006. Mr. Patterson, go back to the pavilion and stay there. Stay there. Yeah? Because all you're doing is sending several people to the records and to look at your record. I said last night to my youngsters, Patterson will be credited for removing the violent, confrontational edge to the Jamaican political scene. And that's a fact. He's not a confrontationist. He was always seeking to build consensus. But I'll also say this. He was a master at patronage politics. Carlstone calls it patron clientelism in the politics. He was not a conviction politician. Yes? Certain core ideas and beliefs like a Michael Manley or a Eddie Siaga or a Bruce Golding. No. He was about winning elections and doing what was necessary to win elections. And that is why under his watch, Omar Davis could declare boldly in one of the most grotesque public statements made by a Jamaican politician that we knew that what we had to do was not the prudent thing to do, but we had an election to win. So I said, run with it. We must not go back there. We must not go back there. Time for the break.